Improvement. I am joined by my co-host, Justin Jones.
All right,
Mr. Jones and me.
I'm clicking the start button now.
The what?
The start button.
Really?
I like your rebus.
I'm glad you admire my rebus.
It's a very nice rebus. There we go. Now good.
All right.
Rebus.
Hello, friends and brothers. Once again, in case you missed it, welcome to Masonic Improvement.
Oh,
I am Dennis Yates, and this is my co-host, Justin Jones.
Were you ready to start? You didn't say you were ready to
Jones
start.
and me. Damn it! You did it again. No, I think he's doing this.
We're good.
You know, he's losing my trust.
Well, whose fault is that?
Killing me softly.
So, what is that image from, Dennis? The one behind you. Like is it from a book or what?
Yes, that is from a book.
Which book?
That one is from Esoterica. Let me see if I've got it here. It's from the Monitor.
From the Monitor.
Hold on, let me not flash you and see.
Oh, come on! You know we all wanted to see those pearly whites.
I know. Those pearly white cheeks.
No, pearly white teeth.
Oh, okay. Man, where is my Esoterica book? Now you're going to have me...
Oh, now hold on a second. If you're up looking for a book and worried about showing us your cheeks...
pearly white?
Are you seriously doing this with no pants? Come on, man. We've got
only on Sunday.
It's kind of a tradition.
That's right. If you're wearing pants, you're just not allowed. You just
then I guess I'm gonna have to leave.
You're just not high enough to understand.
I haven't reached that degree yet.
That's right. You have not reached that degree. You do not know all the secrets, obviously.
What's up, Brad? Been a while.
Shoot, I think it's in another room. Brother Hoff.
No worries. Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that's from my my Esoterica book. And I may have let somebody borrow it. I need to get it back. Okay, I'm going to sit down.
No problem. So what's on everybody's mind this week, Masonically? Anything else?
I don't have a whole lot on my mind. I've set a goal for myself. I'm working with a man that I greatly admire and respect, and I'm looking to get my A certificate.
Cool, man.
Nice.
You have a certificate right now?
I held a C briefly during the pandemic. But I did not do it the following year because, everything was shut down.
Yeah.
And didn't, do anything more to pursue that. But frankly, you guys have been a little bit of an inspiration to me, you rotten fiends, you.
Oh, you.
And I've seriously decided I'm going to get my A certificate. And if everything goes according to my diabolical plan, I'm going to sit for the A at Grand Lodge.
Awesome.
Yes, absolutely. That's awesome.
And so I gotta get the C and B ahead of time. But, got to do it all. And yeah. So I have enlisted the aid of a brother from here in Waco.
Are you planning to work your way up? Is that
Yeah.
the thing? Just kind of learn a little bit at a time and build on it?
I'm meeting with him twice a week for a couple of hours.
Yeah, because you can just jump in and turn in and get an A.
You can you can do your A directly and not have to do the C and B unless you just want to do it that way.
No,
Just
I
as a
want to do
compliment.
it that way. It's just got to be Got to get it all. If I'm going to get the A, I have to have the B and C. Otherwise, it doesn't really count in my mind.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Cool.
I mean, it's one thing to deliver the lectures, but it's another thing entirely to be able to deliver the lectures and confer the degrees and open and close.
Well, you have to for the A anyways. You have to do the B and C also at the same time.
Yeah, you turn it all in.
Yeah. So they'll basically what they do is they just have, for anybody who hasn't done it yet, what they do is they just start off with the C, and then and everybody sits at the table, and then once the C's have reached their point, then they give them their certificates and they continue on with the B's, and then they let the B's shed off and get their certificates, and then the A's still sit at the table. So you go through the whole thing through the process to get the A. You go through the C and the B also. Right.
But that, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that sounds to me like about a 10-hour process. And,
I'd rather sit through only 2 hours.
But I'd rather turn in my C.
Right.
Here's the thing, though. Keep in mind.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. I'm not trying to talk you out. Do whatever you want by any means. But even if you already have, say, like a C and a B, then when you turn in your A, you're still going to sit through everything. So it's still going to be lengthy. Just because you have a B already. Like I actually did that. I had a B originally, and to become a district instructor, I needed to work towards my A. So I already had a B and went and turned in for an A, and I still went through everything with everybody.
Okay. Well, still, it is a confidence building exercise to turn them in one at a time for me.
It is. Yeah, for sure.
No, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. If like turning in that C gives you that enthusiasm to work towards your B, do it by any means you need to.
Oh, I'm gonna. And like I said, I have enlisted the help of a terrific dude, a guy that I have enormous respect for here in the Waco area. Mm-hmm. Guy's a lifetime A certificate holder. So, plus he's just a really freaking cool dude, and I get to spend 4 hours a week hanging out with him and learning the work. So, yeehaw, baby.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Well, that's exciting, awesome, man. I look forward to. So you go turn that in at Grand Lodge? Is that what you said in January?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yes, he did say that.
Okay.
Cool, hey, Byron.
Hey, Cody.
One quick note on this. We're at the end of the Grand Lodge year. Do you have enough exams left in your area ahead of Grand Lodge to do those to do them sequentially like that? To go do a C and then a B.
Well, I don't know if I have them in my area, and frankly, if I don't, well, then I guess I get to do a little traveling.
There you go. That's never a bad thing. Right. I have one. I only have 2 left this year. I have one in Jefferson this coming Saturday, and then in Tyler 1233. I think December 14th, if I'm remembering that right.
Okay.
Like the other guys were. Well, other than Dennis. Dennis was wrong in his. Justin can explain how we do it up here in God's country. But it's rather than excusing the C's after that block of testing is done, and then jumping in with all the B stuff and excusing the B guys, we typically have enough guys sitting for any given class, any given certificate class, that most, if not all of them, are going to be just sitting for a C or just sitting for an A. So you would. If you're in with an A group, like Justin was saying, you're gonna get all of it in there instead of breaking it up. It's definitely not anymore not intended to be a ladder so much as just a full block of instruction. But dude, my hat's off to you if you've got the nads to sit for it for the first time at Grand Lodge. The pressure is seriously on that one.
Yeah, and like I said, the guy that's teaching me, you may know him, Lester Taylor.
The name doesn't ring a bell. but it's
He's-
late, you know.
No, he's
But
terrific,
he's
dude.
in
He's
because
90.
he's in God's country. He's not
Yeah.
down here with us heathens.
Oh, well, I'm not down there with you heathens either. I'm in Waco.
This is true. This
The
is
gateway
true.
to God's country.
The gateway
There's
to God's
only-
country. That's right.
There's only one South Texas. This is true.
But no, Lester has held his. He actually got his lifetime certificate 2 years ago at Grand Lodge.
Outstanding.
Dude's 94 years old and sharp as a tack. And I'm reasonably sure the big reason he's still as sharp as he is because he constantly studies the work.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
I've seen that a lot.
Mhm.
Yep.
Time
me
after
too.
time.
Me too. I think that's the only reason I don't drool on myself when I sitting here watching YouTube videos or something, is that I go through the work so often that it keeps what little of my mind is left in place.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah,
and it's fun for me.
Justin.
Thank you.
Well, I can't wait to see you at Grand Lodge, and I'm sure I'll be popping my head in with your group.
Oh, yeah, right on.
At least a few times.
That's awesome that you're doing that, and it's awesome that you're talking about that. Another cool thing that's going on this week that I feel like is positive for some of the things that we've talked about on the show before is my lodge down in Corpus, Oso Naval Lodge. We have now got a committee going for bylaws, rules, and regulations, and we're going to change our bylaws and make it to where we have 2-year terms for all the positions now. For all the
Interesting.
positions.
I didn't know you could
Yes.
legally do that.
I'm working on it now. I'm working on that legality now. But there are lodges that do that over. There's 3 or 4 of them that I know of. I just don't know how they do it. I need to see their bylaws.
So they don't have to do any appointed office. They don't have to change anything.
They might just do carryovers, holdovers, and just not hold elections that year or something. Or they may hold elections and then everybody just continue on or whatever. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know how they do it, but that's why I'm on the committee, so I can get that figured out and we can get it all legal. But we've made the conscious decision, and all the officers are on board, all the way down to the very low position, and everybody is in agreement that we're going to go 2 years.
And you said this
And
was
the-
OSO?
Yes. And part of the reason is so that not only will we be prepared administratively, not only will we learn administratively our position and the next position well, we will also know the work better. So by time you become master, it's an expectation that you will be able to confer the degrees of your year as
Interesting.
master. So you should be able to sit in the position of whatever you are for that year when you go into the year. And if you work up to it, then that's very possible. And I'm sure that, all the ritualists out there know that it is very possible when you work your way up.
Well, I would like to see those bylaws when you get that finished. Just
Yeah,
out of
once
curiosity.
we get them done, then I'll share them so that there's a resource
Mhm.
for sure.
Cool, man. I dig it. I didn't think there was a legal way you could do that.
Yeah, there's other lodges that do it, and I don't know if they just do it by an honor system or if they do it by actual not voting but once every 2 years.
Yeah. Because I do know some lodges where it's just a gentleman's agreement. Like, well, hey, we're gonna
Right.
But that,
And even if we do and are able to make that law, we're still going to put a clause in there, unless said brother passes away, moves, blah, 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 blah. Put in a few little loopholes. That way we're not stuck like Chuck if somebody gets installed and then all of a sudden passes away. And then it's like, well, wow, what are we going to do for 2 years?
Yeah. It also encourages the lodge to be a lot more intentional about who they elect to their offices.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
one
Dennis,
year,
there are other places. If you look at some of the stuff around the Committee on Work, when it's talking about a brother not being able to fulfill his terms, how that's taken care of. That may be something. I don't remember the exact language that's used, but that may be something that y'all want to consider.
Could use
with a 2 year term. If somebody for whatever reason can't fulfill that, what do you do?
right.
It's going to happen. You have to know it's going to happen.
mm-hmm.
Exactly. At some point, and that's why we thought about that is that we knew that was a possibility. And what if a brother gets in, his master just totally screws up and just doesn't want to have that other year and just walks away?
Mm-hmm.
And then what are you going to do? So yeah, you've got to have some contingency plan there.
Yeah, most definitely. Because 2 years really isn't a very long time, but it can be a long time, and a lot can happen in 2 years. Meaning, looking back 2 years isn't very long, but a lot can happen. So, it can have a car accident, or something can happen. They pass away, or they have a job change, or something like that. Brad, I see here's a question, but I don't see the. Oh. How many Grand Lodge officers have the duty to be present at Grand Lodge annual communications?
That's a good question. That has come up before. Let me think.
Well, I assume the
just
Grand Master
learned it this last Thursday. We got a visit from our Right Worshipful Cody Stewart came to visit.
Well,
my
look
lodge.
at you. Look at you setting us up.
Yeah.
Before you spout it off, now we get the chance to at least try to answer. And I'm not gonna look in a book. I'm gonna think about this for a second. For the most worshipful Grand Lodge of Texas, doesn't it have to be? It's just 3. No. 4. Who
would that be?
The secretary, and 3 of the principal officers. The deputy Grand Master would go up into the Grand Master seat if he wasn't there, and then you would have the junior and senior wardens. Would that be correct? Man, it's been a while.
Look at if you can look up article.
Don't say no in disappointment. Just tell me. No, I'm just kidding.
Article 128, proficiency of members, but it's basically it says it shall be the duty of each member of the Committee on Work to make himself proficient in the esoteric work and lectures.
Yes, the Committee on Work has to be there as a backup. Yes.
Of the first 3 degrees of Masonry and to attend the annual communication of this Grand Lodge. So it's 5. Because the secretary doesn't have to be there, I don't think. At least that's what I was taught.
That would be some terrible notes for Grand Lodge if the Grand Secretary was not involved. If you've seen the yellow scratch pads that have been used in my absence at my lodge, then I can tell you would not want a legal notebook of somebody's scribble through Grand Lodge. Yeah. Just kidding. I'm sure they would have an agenda.
I almost had a pro temp secretary at one of my lodges the other day, and I was like, you do not want me writing minutes. Just saying. All right, badly enough when I'm taking my time. Well, that was very interesting. Thank you, Brad, for sharing that.
Yeah.
Very insightful.
Yeah, he went through kind of the duties on the Committee on Work and promptly lost his voice right after leaving our lodge because he spoke for so long. But it was good. It was good. We all enjoyed it.
And
Didn't hear any complaints.
That's good. Anytime Cody comes and talks, it's always going to be a good one. I always enjoy listening to him talk. Yes, sir. Well, no, never mind. I won't talk about it live. We'll talk
I
about it
saw
tomorrow.
something somewhere that there's going to be 27 resolutions this year. I don't know if you saw that.
I have not seen or heard anything about the resolutions yet.
Somebody asked like when the resolutions were going to be put out, and
It'll be soon.
comment. There was a comment that said there was 27 of them this year.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Well, that will be interesting.
If they all actually go through, because some of them may pull out right at the last minute. You never know.
Yeah.
Once it's printed, that's different, but they may pull out right at the last minute. But that's the number that I'm aware of.
27?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I remember the comment is that before it goes to the printers, it goes to jurisprudence, and the list may get pruned at that point.
Well, they've already been doing that. When you write a resolution and you submit it, it automatically goes directly to jurisprudence, and then they start working on it. Then they divvy it up with the different members because there's so many, and so it goes through then, and then in some cases it goes to civil law as well, and then they prune it a little more, and they don't really prune it. They tell you what you need to take out or what you need to put in, and there you go. So Cody's right. It starts with jurisprudence, and then it goes to the other committees as needed. But it definitely goes to jurisprudence first. But it starts as soon as it's submitted. So that way they get a jump on it, and it's not right before publishing, because that could tie them up big time. Because a lot of them, like mine, I had one a couple of years ago that I finally just withdrew because it had gotten so butchered. And it took like 3 months of back and forth trying to get this thing put together, and finally I just gave up. And which is fine. The end result happened anyways. There is now there is a education and an education committee and a service committee. And so they're separated now, which is what the intent of the resolution was going to be. So ultimately it happened anyways. The seed had already been planted in Grand Lodge, and everybody was already working on it. And I'd certainly say it wasn't just me. It was a lot of people that were thinking it needed to be done for a long time. But yeah, after it went back and forth, it was such a long process and a drawn out. It was nothing like what it started at. So you never know what somebody's going to end up doing.
I just wonder how many of them will be actual beneficial and how many might just be reactions to January. Not even necessarily reactions.
Interesting.
Almost
you should
like
say that.
like retribution.
Maybe triggered by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if things don't work when you play by the rules, you just got to change the rules sometimes.
Well, and there's a way to fix that. Brothers, you need to show up to Grand Lodge and vote. Make sure your voice is heard in the way that you want your Grand Lodge to be. Because you are the Grand West, you have the vote, you have the voice, and you should never, ever leave it to somebody else to do it for you.
Yeah. Because
no matter how close you are with someone, you really never know what's in their head until they push that button. And then you won't know.
Yeah, then you won't know either.
That's the truth of it. I mean, I'm just as bad about that, because I don't tell people exactly what I'm gonna what I'm going to do. You have a pretty good, idea after we do our show, which we will do a show on the resolution.
Well, of course.
Before Grand Lodge, we're setting up a thing to talk about. It's gonna be kind of like a roadmap to Grand Lodge that you can listen to on your travels to Grand Lodge or the days leading up to Grand Lodge. And we're gonna have, like, I was just talking to Carlton right now, but I just settled it. Carlton's not this coming Wednesday; he's next Wednesday, the 20th. We're going to be recording with Carlton, talking about fellowship, and we'll be discussing the hospitality suites and that time for us to just get together and enjoy each other's company. And then we'll have one, of course, about the summit. I need to get that. Dang it. Will you send me a text and just remind me, like tomorrow or the next day in the morning, and say, hey, man.
The summit?
Yeah.
The dinner?
The dinner, yeah. Don't forget about the dinner. I got to get that contract. I just keep forgetting.
Okay, I'll message you.
She's holding it for me, but I've got to do it legal.
Yeah.
And then we'll have one on, like we said, the resolutions. And then we've got different people that have made themselves available that at different times are going to be coming on the show. And then what's the other one that we were wanting to talk about? Fellowship, the dinner, the resolutions.
Mm-hmm. We still need to get Zach and Park on here.
Yes, we do. We do need to get them on here. I want to get Park on here for the. In fact, we were talking about it last night. As a matter of fact, he's ready to come on. I need to get him scheduled. I'll see if this Wednesday's okay for him.
Okay.
But he's traveling a whole lot right now.
I can imagine.
And I get it. I'm going to St. Albans. I was in San Antonio on Friday, or not Friday. I was in San Antonio yesterday, and then I was fishing Friday with my daughter, Friday night. And then yesterday I was in San Antonio for Park's Golden Trowel, and of course that went into a dinner at the Petroleum Club, and then we went out to eat, went out for some drinks. That was a good time. And then tomorrow I've got a meeting for the bylaws committee. Tuesday we've got a Master Mason's degree at Oso Naval Lodge that I'll be second ruffian in. And then Thursday I am going to St. Albans for their
this Thursday?
for their lodge and festive board. Yes.
Nice. St. Albans is a great lodge.
I have booked the room, so I will be there all night because it's always an all-night event. And I cannot wait.
Talk to Pete about coming back on while you're there.
Oh yeah, I mean he'll do it anytime.
Yeah,
he's like a back pocket guy. All I got to do is call him. I assure you.
Okay.
And he has plenty of stuff to talk about. Pick your topic.
Okay.
Pick your controversial moment in Freemasonry, and he can talk about it.
What's up, Trenton? Good to see you, man.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Has been a minute. How have you guys been?
Good. And yourself?
Good. Moved to Oklahoma. That's why it's been a minute.
Wow. Awesome.
Wow.
Have you visited many lodges though?
Just the Durant one so far, but I live by Oklahoma number 4, and the next time I'm off on their night, I'm gonna go visit.
Very cool.
You look kind of different since you came on last time. You look kind of like a odd fellow now.
Yeah. Fairly odd.
Nice.
I was like, beer
Justin, you were holding on to that one in the back pocket for sure.
I know.
I was just waiting for it.
He was waiting for him to come back on, so he did. Man, congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. It's pretty cool. I like it. And Garrett has worked really hard on bringing it back to life in the area, and so.
Do you still travel the? I assume not, I guess. But where are you doing your Scottish Rite at now?
I didn't make it to Dallas this year, but I did McAllister this year. I was in the 31st degree.
Okay, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And almost everyone from my lodge is on that degree, so it's pretty cool.
Nice, man.
We have a couple like that in San Antonio as well. That different lodges and different Scottish Rite clubs and different groups will sponsor a degree. That's great when you can do that, because then you've got that pool of guys you can especially at a lodge, you can just practice at the lodge on whatever night, make it easy.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry,
awesome.
I'm cooking chicken right now.
I can't believe you're not going to Guthrie also. Man, that would be awesome.
I haven't had a chance to make it up there. The next time I'm in Oklahoma City, I plan to make the extra 15-minute trip up to, depending on where you're at.
How far is that
Right.
from you?
From me, it's Oklahoma City is like 2 hours and 15 minutes, or an hour and 45 minutes, I think.
Let's see.
2.5 hours is what I was just told from the other room.
So it's a lodge night. It's a regular lodge trip for me. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
regular lodge trip. Whoa, an hour is usually mine now, but I've shortened that to one of my nights is an hour, another one is only 35 minutes. But they used to be an hour and 10 minutes.
Yep.
It's a little better.
That's
And then to the
good,
Scottish
man.
Rite, it's still the same. I think it's still an hour. It's 2 hours now to Dallas though, so that's why I didn't make it this year.
Well, anytime it's Scottish Rite weekend, it's a hotel weekend anyway, so it's not like you're expected to really go back. At least I don't, because I'm just so tired that there's no way I could go back the same day.
So in McAllister, they have like a barrack style, and I think it's only $5 a night or $10 a night, and you
We
stay in a
have
room
that.
with like 9 other people.
Yeah, we
So you
have
showed the
that
night
in San
before.
Antonio, and they let it go to shit. So now we can't stay up there, but that's okay. They have that in Arkansas as well. They've got barracks
it?
for anybody that wants to stay.
What?
It's great for people who have to
Yeah.
travel. Yeah, because you travel the night before, you hang out, you go meet up, socialize, whatever, and then you wake up, you're not traveling. You're like, you go eat breakfast or whatever, and then you prepare all day for your degree. But yeah, it's way cool to have the barracks and then stay up all night, or not up all night, but some people snore or whatever. It's just cool to be in the whole army style
Right.
with all the brothers, like 9 others or whatever.
Yeah. I can't share a
But
room
really
with
cool
Dude,
anybody.
In San
Yeah, I did
Antonio,
that
no, you
last year.
cannot. You can't share a room next to anybody except for your wife. That's it.
That's not pretty
He
hard.
he stayed at my hotel one time. We had a little bit too much to drink, and so I let him stay in my hotel room, and I swear it was like a pig dying all night. It was so bad. And I turned up the TV. It wasn't just background sounds. I mean, I turned up the TV with golf so that I could not hear him snore. It was so funny. It was so bad. And I was so
snoozing
hungry.
good.
Yeah, you got plenty of sleep. That was so. Note to self. Note to everyone. If Justin needs a room, send him home.
Yeah.
His wife loves him.
I have heard of lodges overseas that have something similar, where they have some kind of a like a sleeping arrangement for people that brothers that have traveled. I think these are also lodges that traditionally drank more, so they probably have a cheap place for guys to sleep after. But
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's a neat idea.
Well, we have
I mean,
an
once-
apartment, a penthouse apartment in San Antonio. It's nice. It's big.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Lucky? No, okay.
Yeah.
Right. If we could use it. And there's in different areas, like in different like the costume area, they have their own showers to themselves. The the ducks, they have their own showers to themselves, and in full facilities. There's a woman's restroom that has full shower capabilities as well. Yeah, they did things right back then. They hooked us up. The Grand Lodge of New Mexico has an apartment in it for the Grand Master, or actually any Grand Officer can stay there if they travel up to Albuquerque.
Mm-hmm.
But if anybody wants to use it, they call the Grand Master first and say, "Are you going to be in town?" He gets first shot. That's his place to stay if he goes up to Albuquerque.
I think that's a smart idea.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
But wouldn't that be cool for lodges to have stuff like that?
Yeah,
That would be cool.
absolutely. It goes back to what we talked about with having a lodge with amenities, things that offer value aside from what you typically see in most lodges. Like your membership comes with other things.
Yes.
And maybe just have
And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was
Go
going to say
ahead.
just have an agreement with other lodges that have, like, say you said like sleeping quarters. Like, so if I'm in the area and I'm a member of this lodge, then we all have an agreement. Hey, you can sleep here for cheaper. I don't know, something. But yeah, I think those are all things that would offer more value. What were we gonna say?
Well, I mean, and that can go insert item here. So let's say you're in the suburbs of Dallas or whatever, and you want to have a Top Golf subscription, and you have your membership at $100, $200 a month or whatever for your members, but your members can come in and just have Top Golf parties in the lodge, in a little room, kind of like they do at Dave and Buster's, to where you can have drinks and hit golf balls or whatever at the screen.
Yeah.
And I mean, just insert item here. It doesn't have to be Top Golf, but just say that you had stuff like that. It might be cool. I mean, it gives you a place to hang out that's safe, that's with your brothers, fellowship. Just another way for Freemasonry to blossom.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the whole concept of a well-rounded lodge, but it also kind of ties in, I think, to, I wouldn't say affinity lodges because that has a negative connotation, but say like you have a lodge where they really like fishing, and so they're close to the lake, and they have a setup, maybe like a dock or something where you can put your boats, you can go fish together and stuff, or you have a lodge.
Yeah, your membership includes a boat slip.
Yeah, something like
and
that.
So, because every weekend during fishing season, everybody's gone fishing.
Yeah.
And you do it as a group and what have you. Yeah, I mean, that would be cool.
Or even like, hey, we have like a really nice gym at this lodge, so if you're really interested, I think most lodges should have something like that. But say like, hey, ours is exceptional compared to others. So if you're really dedicated, really want to work out, this is a great lodge for that. Or you could just have a lodge that has like a really exceptional, like a bourbon tasting setup or something like that, where, hey, this is just kind of our interest, and it just comes with, it's just part of the, it's part of the package, right? Your dues are expensive relative to what, I wouldn't say expensive, but they're expensive relative to what most lodges charge. But this is what you get with it, and it's not just the boat slip. It's not just access to the gym. It's everything that they can pack into the lodge that provides some kind of value.
Right. Well, and let's say we want to keep it purely Freemason. What's to say you don't have a library?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you had a library with a billiards table in it, to where you could have people getting together and having a drink, playing pool, reading, talking philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Just a man's environment.
Yeah.
And not your old, coin change pool table, but a real billiards table, and a real atmosphere that promotes manliness and philosophy and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Daniel?
I think this is the moment where I think there's been conversations about the availability of Freemasonry and like what do we offer. what are we doing to do this, right? This is the point where it does become more like, and I'm not trying to use this as a negative connotation. This is where it becomes like the value is like equal to the country club, right? If I'm going to have this nice of stuff, I'm willing to pay for that, and I'm willing to build
Yes.
that culture around it, right?
Yep.
And so much of what we talk about is like, people complain about raising dues. People complain about this, that, and the other. Like, well, if you had this, would you pay for it? And
Right.
I'm not trying to talk bad about this at all, right? I'm just trying to point out the fact that people don't seem to want to take it in that mindset, which is so discouraging at times, right?
You're
we
right.
want to look at the lodge as canned green beans and a mediocre dinner.
Yeah. Well, it's a question of the tail
for
wagging the
some
dog.
reason,
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk at the same time.
Go ahead.
No.
I kept butting in too.
I was just gonna say it's the argument of the tail wagging the dog, right? The issue is people don't want to pay for value unless they see value, but how do you provide the value if it's not being paid for? Right?
Well,
They have
I
to
think-
understand the concept. Go ahead.
I think also there's a stigma in Freemasonry where we are no longer gentlemen. We're no longer the gentlemen of the day, finding solutions of the day for the common good of man.
You're just mad because suits are
We-
obsolete now, and we should
You
stop.
know, you tell me they're obsolete, and I'm going to buy one of those Christmas suits. I swear.
He's just mad he can't get the shorts version that I shared on Facebook.
I know.
If that argument had any merit, then why would people dress up for weddings and things?
Right.
Because this still has value. But
Well, and the whole post wasn't just about wearing suits to lodge. It was also about the lesson there, and the internal and the external, because the whole lesson there has nothing to do with suits.
Yeah.
But the reality is, in Freemasonry, for some reason, we somehow we have mentally created this version of ourselves to where we are the charity, instead of being charitable as brothers to each other in a loving fashion. It's a matter of us wanting to milk the teat of somebody else, some grander body.
Yeah.
We've become really like a federalist type government within the hierarchy of lodges and Grand Lodge. People look at Grand Lodge as some federalist system that should save all of our, save us from ourselves when we do stupid things and make bad decisions. But that's really not their job. And what's funny is that while we're making those bad decisions, we don't want Grand Lodge in any of our business.
Unless they're giving us money.
Unless they're giving us money. So we've created this weird stigma at this time to where we're not the contributors, we're the receivers on this thing.
Yeah. Kind of backtracking a little bit, I had something in my mind since you brought it up, but
You should, because that went south quick.
but you're talking about providing value. Maybe it was you, maybe it was Daniel. I don't remember. But talking about value, but keeping it strictly Masonic. And I think you mentioned the library, and it's like even if you just did
That would be this guy.
even if you just did, you had higher dues and you had a library, and you said, look, we're going to have book discussions once or twice a month, and we're just going to sit. We got this awesome library, and this is what we're going to read, and just have a great discussion over scotch once or twice a month. Have a nice little area where you can sit and actually have a conversation, not on metal fold up chairs and stuff. Actual like a lounge area where you can sit and have a discussion. That's quite a bit of value right there. Granted, will everybody want to be in a book club? No. Will everybody read the books? From my experience, no. But you could build that culture over time. Say, look, this is a lodge where we study and we discuss things and stuff like that.
It's available to the members.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if you said, okay, we're shifting our culture, the culture of our lodge, and we are going to focus heavily on education, because it all starts with education, whether it's esoteric, administrative, mannerisms, cultural, whatever. it all starts with education. So we're going to have this library. Could you imagine if we said, now we're going to give 5% of your dues to purchase one of these old books that cannot be found? One of the books that costs $1,000 that you will never put your hands on unless you come to lodge.
Yeah.
But you have access to it as a member for your own study if you want to study a subject. Could you imagine having that kind of access to information about Freemasonry? That would be so cool.
But also, you'd want to be a lot more careful about who you let in, because we have all these very expensive things that people have access to. But yeah, and as you're talking about that, I was thinking, when someone potentially wants to join, it's very hard sometimes to make that value proposition. Like, oh, we just take good men and make them better. Okay. But you say, look, you also would have access to a very extensive, esoteric, and historic or whatever library with some very old books. We say, and we have our own private, whatever, be it boat slips or gyms or whatever you want to tie in there, right? And just
cigar patio.
Yeah, like we have a cigar lounge. We go out and smoke. We have bourbon tastings. You'd have access to all that, and it's all paid back into your membership. And the more, granted, you don't want to just cram everything into your building, right? But you would want to branch out over time and add things that can provide value. And you might outgrow the building. That's fine. You might have to get something bigger or add on to it. But the tail can't wag the dog in this case. It can't. You have to be willing to find something that your lodge would find value in. And you might have to do like a small proof of concept with them, right? But say, look, we can keep doing this, but it's going to cost money. We can't just, I'm not going to fund it forever, right? I'll buy a few books. Like we had, I know one brother that he paid to redo the floor and paint the lodge. And he's like, this looks great. We're getting people coming in here. We're getting petitions and stuff. People are showing interest, but we can't move further unless the lodge is willing to contribute to this. It can't just be one person financing everything the lodge does. And so you have to have that proof of concept.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I bet you have. One person financing everything? Is that what you're talking about?
Another thing is, you've got some of these lodges that they rely so heavily on this rental of their building. So in my lodge, we do have this front space, and it's rented by a brother. I wouldn't want to just kick him out. But let's say they decide that they grow and they need to move somewhere bigger or whatever. They want a different office space, or they want to work from home, whatever. So we only collect like $2,000 to $3,000 a year from this person. It's from this brother. It's not a lot. That's something that the lodge could increase their dues with, and then you have your library and lounge. Or you could turn it into a freaking museum for the community to come in and see artifacts on Freemasonry. They don't need to come into the lodge room. They can come into that front facing, right onto the town square access, that they could come in and view artifacts on Freemasonry and learn about the lodge history and all kinds of things, learn about the history of the town.
Yeah.
Because all of it was built by Masons just about. And so think of how many lodges have that. And they're so worried about their dues that they hold on to some valuable space that could be used for something else that would support and benefit the lodge.
Absolutely.
The lodge membership. Great points.
I attended one lodge. I won't name lodges or anything, but I went to one lodge either late, like way early this year, or maybe late last year, and they have an entire, like you go in there and it's a normal sized lodge, and then there's a small hallway, and it opens up to, they got like a whole Yorkite section of that building, and they're actually looking at, if they haven't yet, they're looking at selling that building because that whole section is just unused. And in hindsight, it's like, man, think of all the I mean, it had like its own lodge room and all this extra
Dude,
stuff.
that's
It's
the
like,
way Holland Lodge
you
is.
could pack so much stuff in
It
it.
could be a mecca of Freemasonry, but people are not willing to drive 20 minutes to another lodge in traffic.
Hmm.
And that's the sad thing about a lot of our situations.
That's unfortunate. I
Yeah,
think
there's some.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We just we have to get out of the box we put ourselves in, right? Like, I'm not saying we get away from Freemasonry. We're Freemasons, but that should always be the focus. But anything
Yes.
where you can associate, because really, working on yourself, be it a library, a gym, whatever you can think of that would improve you as a person, that's Masonic in my opinion. Fraternalism. So any way you can encourage to engage fraternally with your brothers, be it a book club, be it a cigar patio, be it a little section to like a bourbon closet or something. I don't know what you'd call it, right? But just where you could sit with your brothers and have conversations and do things like that. Anything that would follow something like that you could put in your lodge. That is all the just having one meeting a month and then locking your door and not coming back for another 30 days is wasteful. It's a waste of having a building, and it's lost opportunity, because an active lodge is a healthy lodge. And when you start doing more things with your brothers, either in your lodge or as a lodge, then people see what you're doing. They see that you're enjoying yourselves and you're having fun, and then they want to have a part of that. They want to engage in that. Excuse me.
Well, since you're taking a breath, just kidding. Talking about that, this is kind of a twofold issue. It's really threefold, fourfold, whatever. It's a multi-layer issue that we're dealing with. Because another one of the issues that we would have to deal with at the same time would be all these zombie lodges that are still present that are eating up the membership's time.
Mm-hmm.
So even if we're not contributing our money to that lodge, we're contributing our time to that lodge, trying to save the lodge, trying to make it active so that, people, so some other town that has let their lodge die can still be there in hopes that they're going to get somebody to join, one person in the next 5 years, because they haven't in the last 5 years. So we've got all these lodges out there that we're trying to support, not just financially, but also with our time.
Mm-hmm.
If we had that time back and were able to spend it at our own lodge on those kind of things, doing the things we enjoy, I mean, that's another factor, is that it's hard to start programs in your lodge because all your brothers are running around doing all this other crap everywhere else. And I'm just as bad. I told you just a minute ago that I travel, regularly 2 hours to other lodges, and that's bad on me. But I do that to get my cup filled. I don't do it to save lodges. I will not drive to save a lodge. I drive to get value in my Freemasonry. But we have so many brothers that do drive to save lodges. It's taking away from their own lodge, just like when you have plural memberships. Mm-hmm. We don't have as many plural memberships as we really think. We probably got, I think, 7,000 or 8,000 plural memberships in Texas out of 57,000 members, 750 or 54,000 members, 750 lodges. We have probably 7,000 or 8,000 plural memberships, which isn't a lot considering. So it's not
almost
really,
8%.
Right. But that's really not that much. I would say what eats us up more than anything is the time resource, because we don't have time to support the things in our own lodge because we're busy trying to support all the things in all these other lodges to keep them alive.
And that's a good point. Money, regardless how you feel about it, you can always make more money. So
money's the secondary object.
you could be a member of 3, 4, 5 lodges, and if you make enough money, then that's not going to put you out. But you will never get more time. You'll never get more time. It doesn't matter what your job is, or how wealthy you are, or how healthy you are. You have a set amount of time, regardless, and you'll never get that back. And so, if you have several memberships and you're spending all this time keeping all these lodges, you're not keeping them alive. You're keeping them on life support because they're not thriving; they're just surviving. And you've dedicated that time instead to one, or even possibly 2 lodges that you're passionate about, that you care about. That's a big difference.
I agree. And if you're not passionate about it, then you have the availability to create passion within your lodge. So even if you're not finding that value presently, you have more to give towards the lodge to create that thing that would make you more passionate about going to lodge. Right?
Yes.
I was reading while you were talking, and so I was trying to catch in and add to that the tail end of your, and I wasn't sure if I really caught the message or not. So that was pretty good. That was.
To be fair, I was contemplating that image behind you as you were talking, so I'm not sure if you really got the message or not. Because I was thinking about something I saw on there. So
lots of good stuff in that picture.
Yeah. No, I was looking at the circle, right, with the square and the triangle inside of it. And we had a conversation not long ago, you and I and Cody, I think, were on here, talking about why maybe it was actually at Rose City, but why squaring instead of circular, right? Because the old monitors have circling and everything, and there's a concept. It's called squaring the circle, which I think is something that you could accomplish with some of the things we talk about. But I was looking at the square of the circle there, and I was thinking, well, we probably used to walk circularly because of that concept, squaring the circle. I mean, there it is demonstrated. But also, I was also thinking, it's got a 3 and a 4 in it.
Well, the square was brought into it because of being the fourth part of the circle. It's the other way around.
Okay.
The circle was always there.
Yeah.
It wasn't the square.
No, so it used to be circular, and now it's square.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like it kind of got dumbed down, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But also, with the whole square, there's the.
We can't teach people what it really.
Yeah. Well, those are
Wasn't that
we can have that conversation later. What? Sorry.
Wasn't that the original operative Master Mason secret? Is deriving a true right angle from a circle?
That is one of them. Yes.
Yeah. Squaring the. I believe it was.
Damn it! You're giving away our secrets already. You just became a Master Mason.
We're gonna be doing geometry in the streets now because of you. It's gonna be anarchy.
Well,
dogs and cats sleeping together.
I don't know how to do it. Obviously, that's for the 34th degree. But only certain YouTubers and people know.
Yes, exactly. That's funny. That's something. Speaking of YouTube, so I was watching a YouTube channel that I just love, and I did it because I've always believed that, and I may ruffle some feathers here, because even my wife believes that the Bible is God breathed. I don't believe that. I believe that it's godly people that were inspired to write, right? In which I would say spiritual people who were inspired to write. And So I'm listening to this YouTube channel, and I looked up who wrote the Bible, I think. And there's this one Jewish brother that gives an outline of when every book was written, and really archaeologically, however you say it, and from an archaeologist standpoint, as to when this could have actually happened and when it did happen, and with a true historical, with true historical reasoning. And man, talk about just blowing my mind on some of the thoughts that I had on different books that I didn't realize the depth, and I didn't realize that there were some books that were actually two different stories.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that there are, and he says that there's something like 30 different parts in the Bible where you can tell that it's two different authors that are writing the exact same thing, because they use a different word, and what they think it is like the account from this part of Israel versus this part of Israel, because this part of Israel called God one thing and this part of Israel called God the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the writing, it's proven that it came from someone else. It wasn't the same author. And
Well,
you know,
we see that in
and
the New Testament a lot.
well, and even with the Old Testament, and that's what I'm talking about, is these people are talking about, a lot of the Moses story not necessarily being 100% what it says it is, because at that time it wasn't written. All the texts that create all, there's the section that was believed to be written by Moses, and all the texts were actually written by different authors from different regions, different areas, and they can tell by the different dialects and stuff like that, the way that it's written, they can tell it's different people that are writing this stuff, but they matched the stories together and kind of layered them and put the whole story together. So a bunch of the Moses writings is folklore, because it was all told from mouth to ear, and what you got was the end result of one person writing down what that mouth to ear was, and it was different in this area, different in this area, with their little nuances that had their own culture put in it. Mm-hmm. In different areas. And so it really, if you guys are interested in that kind of research into, what we're studying as our Great Light, which I believe it's a tremendously important and powerful resource to us. But I think that we need to study it properly, and not just through the eyes of the one direction that we have been for all of our lives. At least I have. I grew up Baptist, so I've been reading it one way.
I was going to say, if you look at it from a modern perspective with movies, it's not so much now because we've got a lot more international.
Let me find it. Yes.
If you look at a lot of movies, a lot of popular movies were just remakes of movies that existed in foreign countries, but they wouldn't have been popular if they had just taken it directly and just dubbed over it and released it here. It needed to be with actors we know and cities we know and relatable to us as a culture. When you have stories that are mouth to ear, as people travel, tell the stories, they're going to tell them in a way that is relatable to the people that actually want to hear it. They don't care about a story with characters from Sumeria and Sumerian cities and things like that and names like that when you're over in Egypt or something like that. So you're going to take those myths and tell them in a way that's relatable to the people there. The reason I say Sumeria is look at the Sumerian, the Epic of Gilgamesh is a perfect example of what you're talking about, because the flood of Noah that you see in the Bible is a retelling, well, a very condensed retelling of the Epic of Gilgamesh from Sumeria.
What? I wasn't listening.
It's just good.
I'll just chime in here too, Justin. There's a great video that I recently watched about this too. It's talking about archetypes,
Hmm.
right? If nothing else, right? There was it was a conversation slash debate on the Bible, kind of going down where Dennis was with the not necessarily the validity of the Bible, but there are archetypal stories in the Bible, period,
Hmm.
right? There were people who were created by a greater power that we need to be good. We need to choose good in our life, but there's going to be a hard choice, and you have to make that choice. That's an archetypal story, right? And that goes to your point, right? It's like there are these stories that transcend time and culture and space. Don't kill your brother. That's bad, right? And I'm way oversimplifying here,
Mhm.
but these things are true no matter what culture you have, no matter where you live, no matter who you are. Those are universal truths, right? We can look at the golden rule and look at every major world religion, and there is some form of that because of that, right? The flood story, you see that across all different times and histories and places. There's some sort of flood story.
Mhm.
If nothing else, if we want to boil it down to this is an archetypal story of something that happened, and it's universal to the human experience for every human, no matter your language, no matter your culture, no matter your location.
It's a great point, man. You're absolutely right. And it's just like the hero's journey, like what you're talking about. Talking about archetypes. I mean, it's the same thing. The hero's journey is the same thing. You see that in all cultures with all stories. There's certain. I don't know if it's just because we're very simple creatures, as complex as we are, in that certain things just resonate with us, right? Certain types of stories, certain approaches, or if there's something deeper and more common than that, like a shared historical trauma or something that we all just find us resonate with the same things or not. But you're spot on. There's definitely certain things, regardless of distance and location and culture, and that we all across the world kind of we have these, like you said, these archetypes that we all that just pop up again and again and again. And I guess the real question is, because when you say archetypes, you think of like characters, like people, like stories, and I guess you could still say we're talking about stories here, but there are. That's the biggest thing where I really started noticing when I started studying like esoteric concepts and things like that, is that you have these, we'll say archetypes. You have these commonalities where this represents this in this culture. Well, it has a different name in this culture, but the symbols are the same and it represents the same thing. And it might be as far from Asia to Europe, right? That there may also be petroglyphs in America that have similar symbols that represent the same things. And so the question is, why do we have these commonalities all across the world? Dennis, I'm stalling so you can find what you're looking for, by the way.
Oh, I'm just looking for these links for the brothers for our inner circle. I was gonna.
What YouTube channel were you talking about that you watched?
Believe it or not, it's useful charts. Hold on, let me.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, and so this guy he started this out just by creating this chart, this timeline chart and you can buy this chart for like 25 bucks. You don't need to though. But he started out with this useful chart and he explains the specific happenings throughout the timeline, right? And it goes from Jewish to Christianity, through the whole Bible. And then he decides to talk about this series to give more depth into this. He creates a series to give more depth into that chart, and so you can watch those individually, or you can watch the entire series. You can just save it and keep going back to it. It's called The Introduction to the Bible, and it's by Useful Charts.
Hmm.
And this is a Jewish scholar that wrote this, and he's being very objective in all of this, and he's talking about what has been believed in the past, what is believed currently, and what could possibly be the future belief based off of recent studies that have been done on this. And we're talking about studies on the exactly what I was talking about, is the logos in all of it, what type of languages were used, what type of wisdom was trying to be given. I mean, it's a pretty in-depth historical. It's a lot like the podcast Esoterica, how he goes through, how he breaks through things, historically.
Yeah, that's what I actually thought it was going to be when you were talking about it. It sounds like Esoterica.
Right. Well, I like this guy a little bit better, actually. I do like a lot of what Esoterica talks about, but I think that a lot of it is just chronological, really, and just superficial in a lot of standpoints. But this, I guess I can relate to a lot better because it's something I already know, which is the Bible. Yeah. And so it's easier for me to comprehend, I guess, maybe. But he does it from a standpoint of having a PhD in this stuff and being able to really give the truth on the matter.
Cool.
And give the truth based off of other people. So it's Useful Charts is the subscription. That's the actual company that he made to put it together. But the very first one that I saw, which I really like, I don't want you to just go into that introduction of the Bible, not the full series. I want you to go into the very first one that I saw, which was the introductory to that timeline. It explained that chart that he bases all of the things on. And then so that way you have a good basis of what that chart is before he starts breaking it down even further. And man, it is just powerful. I want to teach my daughter the Bible based off of this stuff. That's how powerful this stuff is.
Well, I'm excited to see it now.
I know, you ought to be.
Yeah, that sounds good. I almost sent you a link. It's a YouTube channel. I think it's kind of newish. It's called the Esoteric Cross. And they got some good stuff on there I've been watching lately. I don't know if I sent you the video or not, but there was some. They were talking about the symbolism of. Well, actually, it was breaking down the Kabbalistic tree. I can't try to remember exactly what the video was about, but he ended up talking about like the pillars and everything like that, and it links. He mentioned Freemasonry, and it links real easily back to some of the things that we have talked about and some of the things that we observed during our degrees and stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yep. Did any of y'all have anything you'd like to say? Anything on y'all's mind tonight?
Actually, you guys are kind of blowing me away.
Have that effect.
Yeah. I'm just trying to do my best impersonation of a sponge right now.
Oh, okay.
I just want to soak it up. Just trying to learn more stuff.
Well,
it might be. Yeah, thank you. That was very kind. Much more than I'm deserving of, I'm sure. I think it was this one. When was the Bible written? That's the first one that I.
Well, why did you just look at your history?
Well, I try doing that, and I look at so many things. Let me tell you what my history shows. Yeah, when was the Bible written?
Mm-hmm.
So the things I look up, the thing Dennis looks up. Rowdy Roddy Piper, the Von Erichs, Randy Savage Just kidding. My daughter and I was trying to explain to her the other night when we were fishing. I was trying to explain to her how wrestling used to be and how they used to do. And we got into this big, you know, talk. But
Yeah.
anyways, so I looked it up. Greek gods and goddesses, gods of time. Let's get past the wrestling.
So
Ancient
I found it. When
religions
was the Bible written by? Useful charts. Okay.
Yeah. Ancient religions in the world, quantum spirituality, philosophy and spirituality, Gnostic gospels, the Quran in English. When were the books of the Bible written? Yeah, that's kind of, and that's my first 10 things.
What is
I listen.
what is a gyat? What is Riz? What does it mean to be mid?
I've got
My-
kind of a question.
Yes, sir.
So, Worshipful Master this year got through a pretty tough hurdle, got our dues raised, got the budget lined out. We're not going to do Vanguard this year because I just don't think anybody really cares about it. They just, I don't think they really aren't excited about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've got through all a bunch of hard stuff, and now I don't know what to do next. Like I don't know how to keep the fire going that was going, you know.
What
I
was
didn't
your
wanna
goal
take
for the beginning when you first took your obligation as worship master? What was your goal for your year? Sorry to interrupt you.
Education, bring education, which I'm still doing.
Mhm.
And I've got Chris Livingston coming next year.
Oh man, that's going to be a good one.
He's going to talk about justice.
Yeah.
Because you know my cardinal
favorite
virtues
topic.
are the theme. So he's going to talk about justice, and I'm trying to.
You need to give me the date on it because I want to come up there to see it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It's in May.
The reason I, and again,
Well,
I'm
I make another big one on a weekend.
again, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Right.
Go
But
ahead.
the reason I ask is I always say to anybody that's about to go into the East, you have to set a goal. Set a goal for your year. And stay focused on your goal. Anything you accomplish that is positive for the lodge along the way is great, but stay focused on your goal. And it's easy when you get a few victories to look around and say, all right, who's next, right? But you find yourself right now like, what do I need to do? And it's that it goes back to that analogy where a boat with no sail goes wherever the tides take it, right? Every port looks good to a boat with no sail. You have your sail. Your sail is to provide education for your lodge. Don't get so focused on, and I'm trying to not sound negative because I don't mean this negatively at all. Don't get so focused on your next big victory that you lose sight of the goal, right? The next thing that your lodge needs will become apparent to you, but stay true to what your focus is. Raising your dues, that's huge. What Dennis?
You want me to tell you how a director of a company would do it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Go ahead and finish first.
No, I'm just saying, and he may have some great advice. Sometimes he does, but I'm just saying.
Every once in a while, I get lucky.
Just based off the way you're framing your question.
You're right.
It's easy to lose track of what your goal is by trying to chase that dopamine, trying to chase those victories. You've done great things for your lodge, and you will continue to do great things for your lodge. But also understand there's a season for everything, right? You got that. You had the Roy City event, which was fantastic. You raised your dues. You've accomplished great things. Stay true to your goal for the education, And when the time is right, then the next thing you need to do will present itself to you, and then you'll know what you need to do. That's my
You ready
opinion.
for that time?
Go ahead, Dennis.
You ready for that time?
Go for it.
So, in my opinion, the now that's a good question, Daniel. Let me give you my opinion on this. Now is your time for reflection. So once you go through the first cycle of your plans, of your goals, now it's time for reflection. So what I would recommend is to go ahead and have another past masters meeting like you did in the very beginning and say, okay, what were our strengths? What do you see good that came out of what we've done? What did you see that wasn't so good? What would you like to see different but stay on course? Have that discussion with the brothers, and then you'll know where you need to go with the lodge.
That's wise.
And then you can and all you need to do right now is get through to January, right? Because after January, people's moods are going to be fired up for the next few months also. So then you'll have a little bit of time to sit back and plan for the next year. But just go back and take a temperature of the room.
That's a good
and
point.
see where you are. And then you'll be able to make a decision based off of that. And I wouldn't let people completely deter you from what you've done. I would ask how you can improve on what you've done. If there's something they didn't like, what would they do differently to get a better outcome?
Yeah. Because
that way it does keep you focused on your goals, like Justin said, but you're also bringing them into the mix and helping them get the buy-in.
Yeah. Because you're right. And you may have that past master meeting and they may say, hey, we really like everything. How do you feel about making the kitchen nicer? Or I'd really like to have more books in our library, or insert something here, which is something that is a laudable goal, but you might not have thought that. My point is they may see a need for something that aligns kind of with what you would like to do anyway, but you wouldn't have thought to tackle that next unless you had that meeting with them. See what I'm saying? So that will give you the guidance. Dennis is 100% right. That will give you the guidance. Say, this is what's important to them. This is what's important to me. This is where they align. And they said they want that. So let's focus on that and tackle that. So that's a great point.
Another y'all have had a lot of talks about, working on the lodge and doing different things for the lodge. Maybe it is a season for rest, and you just focus internally. Mm-hmm. And so you have this meeting and you talk about what you can afford to tackle first. And during that time, you also ask them, okay, so where you still get the temperature of the room, but while you're focused on something that doesn't take as much thinking, which is, rebuilding the place or, remodeling, whatever, painting, man, I can sit there and paint all day long and think of 1,000 different things while I'm painting. So you can do something as mundane as painting your building or whatever while you're taking a little bit of a breather from having to cater to everybody as they come in and try to create excitement for your lodge. Give yourself a breather, give yourself a chance to rest, focus on something really easy, do that, and then during that time, be planning for the next part based off of whatever your discussions were.
Yeah.
Because you did have those plans, so you can follow through with that while you're taking a little bit of a rest, but you're still being productive with your time.
Yeah, I mean, that's really totally where I was kind of going with the question, because I've even told my lodge, I was like, we've all worked really hard over the last 2 months with a lot of fundraisers and events and all kinds of stuff that we did. But I didn't plan on anything this month or next month because I really wanted everybody to get a break with their family. And I'm actually we're gonna do like our next stated meeting is not even really gonna be a meeting. We're gonna do like a Christmas party.
Nice.
And we mentioned that this week, but yeah, that was the plan. But that's kind of where I was going with the question, is just getting that feedback from you guys, man. I mean, you guys are always really good about, you know, giving good advice like that, and that's why I asked the question. So appreciate it.
Yeah, keep the focus, but reflect on what you've been doing.
I like the idea of getting kind of a planning meeting again, because we did that where we all kind of, you know, we actually had some pretty good discussion and got the goals on the building of which direction we wanted to go with the building, and that's still in the works because the city's involved and all that stuff, because it is a historic building and the city owns half of it. So yeah.
Well, and if they're that involved, you ought to ask them for resources for matching funds, because the state, if you're required to do historical repairs and stuff like that, the state also has funding that will match your funds for historical repairs for historical buildings. And so ask them for if they have somebody that can help you with grants. Surely they have somebody in the city that works with grants, because most cities require grants to get things done, right? Most small cities. And so surely they have one person that is good at writing grants and can help you through the process. If they can't do it, they can point you towards a fairly inexpensive option to find somebody to help you write a grant. But you can get matching funds from them. You can also reach out to Grand Lodge if you have all your ducks in a row, like you have insurance on your lodge, you have all your dues are fairly current, you're starting to do good things. Grand Lodge does the same thing. There are funds available to help with those situations. They do it on a piece by piece basis, and certain criteria has to be met, but you know, that's available too. So you could get the state to match what so you get Grand Lodge to match your little amount, and then the state can match that big amount that you have with Grand Lodge. You can have the state match that, so then you know exponentially changed your outcome of your rehab on your lodge.
I would tap into that and also say lots of cities also offer matching grants for like external. Can't remember the actual terminology.
Our city actually gives $1,000 to anybody who wants to paint the outside of their building on the town square.
Improvements or whatever that's called. But yes. And our lodge here in town did that several years ago, and they added awnings and repainted the. We got kind of like this weird border around the top, and we repainted that and everything. But we put awnings over the doors, and even added like a wrought iron fence around part of the back.
It's a beautification grant, is what it is.
Something like that. And granted, your lodge isn't ugly by any means, but if you decide you want to do something externally with it, you might look into that with Roy City and see if they offer something, like even if it's a matching fund or just a flat amount. Anything helps, right? So there's opportunities.
And you can also leverage things like ChatGPT, other AI programs to help give those grants like the basis of that. Like, hey, this is the outline of what I need to do. Like, you might not even have to hire somebody. Like, yes, you can do that as a final step, get some good review, or it at least jump starts it for you, so you're not having to like come up with all of that out of nowhere.
That's true.
And at the same time, you can create a snowball effect by using, as was mentioned earlier, you have money to start off with, seed money. Okay, if you can get Grand Lodge to match that, if you can get the city to match yours and the Grand Lodges, and then you can get the state to match you, the Grand Lodge, and the city, Well, now we might potentially be talking about, funds significant enough to put a big dent in your budget.
The state will match up to $50,000 if you have the money. I mean, that's a chunk of freaking change.
Yeah.
So
It's huge.
if you can do it like that, then so I would recommend you form a committee to help kickstart that. Somebody who has the time to go to or has the rapport with City Hall and can go up there, talk to the people without pissing people off, that can, understands the end goal, things like that. Just make sure that they're not only willing but capable to do the job, and have a few people working on that for you.
But have your past master meeting before any of that. Just they check the pulse
Yes.
of your lodge. They might not
And you
care
can
about that right now.
tell them about these things and say, hey, these were our goals. How would you feel if we could get this
Mhm.
to help us?
I probably mentioned like what Dennis. I feel like I'm yapping a lot. I'm sorry, but bring up what y'all talked about in your last meeting and say, look, this is what we talked about. This is what we accomplished. What's important to you now? Do you still want to keep pushing in this direction? What is the most urgent thing do you feel like we need to take care of? And we did do that. We did that. We went to OLT and presented.
What are you?
Daniel says, have you and Dennis thought about doing a worshipful master coaching program? It's like we did.
We've talked about doing that, and we just haven't done it, and we need to do something like that. But we've got to write it down first, because we start going in every different direction. Yeah. That's our problem. That's our Achilles heel is, man, if there's a squirrel in the room, I'm going to see it.
So we've got a leg up.
And so will Justin. He'll look right after I do. What?
We've got
poor Brad's over here trying to talk.
One of the members of the lodge is the city manager.
And
see, that's exactly who you need.
The building inspector for the town, like the main building inspector, is also a Mason, but he's not a member. But he's worked in our degrees and he visits our lodge, and he was there for the event that we had and stuff. So anyway, we've got wheels in motion. I don't know about the whole matching thing. We tried to do that with the windows when we got the windows fixed, but it ended up we were able to put vinyl windows in, so it didn't matter.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that I wouldn't settle. Get your matching funds and do only the best. We have to spend $1,000 per window in Goliad because of the historical value. So I know it costs a lot, but I'll be damned if I'm going to put that in the oldest lodge building in continuous use in the state of Texas.
That is a cool building too.
I will pay for it myself. I know you got to, and I wasn't there. What did you think?
It was beautiful. Yeah.
That was our COVID project. So in my year as worshipful master, we were all but shut down, and that happened during COVID. Instead of sitting around crying about COVID, we got busy.
To Dennis's point, there's so many aspects of our lives where we have to settle, right? Or we have to shortcut and patchwork things to make it work. The lodge should be the exception. It should not be. If you're religious, your church and your lodge should be the exceptions to that. Whereas it's nothing but the best, and it for different reasons. But they should be places where you're going, and this is the nicest stuff that we could afford. It's not, well, there's duct tape holding this together. I hope it didn't like fly off or something, right? It shouldn't be. Your lodge shouldn't be like a Cessna held together with duct tape, right? It should be.
It'll still fly, but do you really want to be in there in case the wing comes off? It will. I know. I've seen it, but you don't want to be in that plane. Yeah. I didn't get in.
Yeah, Kadeem, there is. We talked briefly, but we don't have them yet, so we don't know.
We're going. Yes, we did mention that Grand Lodge is coming up. There are 27 resolutions proposed, and as soon as they hit the books, then we will go ahead and have a show on them for sure. We will definitely have a show, so everybody will have something to watch on the way to Grand Lodge, or listen to on the way to Grand Lodge. So that is the plan on that.
Hey, we're putting together a playlist. It's going to be a whole playlist.
Yes.
It's going to be the candidate forum, and it's going to be the resolutions, and anyone running that we talk to is going to go on there also. Yeah.
give you the background music there. That was so bad.
Yeah, it was bad, but it was funny. But I have a quick question. I don't know if any of y'all know the answer, but I want to put it out there. Maybe somebody does. So I am no longer a sitting master. Can I expect to see a copy of the proposed resolutions like mailed to me?
Your lodge should go over.
Yeah.
Yes, my lodge should go over them, but I'm not at my lodge anymore.
They don't get mailed out, do they?
You'll get them
kind of at large.
Email. Oh yeah, that's right.
Emails.
You'll get it in the email from Grand Lodge. Yeah, that's another thing that's very important. That's something else that I'd like to push to everyone. That's not only in Texas, but I've seen the state of the U.S. and almost every grand jurisdiction is under Grandview now. And so if you're on a Grandview system, make sure your profile is up to date with your address as well as your email address, because that's how your Grand Lodge will always be able to communicate with you. So make sure you have that. And I can tell you, I'm working on some stuff that hopefully will come to pass. That'll be important for you to be a part of it, for your email to be in Grandview, and there'll be a push to get more people to do that. Another thing with Grandview now is that how we were using the Amity app for a while as our source of information for lodges, Masonic that we are affiliated with or that we recognize. Well, Grandview now, anybody that's in the Grandview system, any grand jurisdiction that's in the Grandview system, any lodge, if a member comes to me from another state and they show me that virtual ID, I can scan it from my Grand Lodge in Grandview, and they're going to tell me if their dues are current or not. So I will know where they're from and if they're current on their dues before they get to come into my lodge. So, Grandview is really, really turning out to be a firecracker program, and it's only going to get better because now we've got more Masons focused on Masonry in Grandview, and it's going to get better. In fact, we're going to have the Grand Junior Warden for the state of California on our show, and hopefully we'll get to talk a little bit about how that transpired with them being part owners in that program and the benefits that are to come that are already being worked on. Maybe we can get him and Mark, the original developer for Grandview. It's his baby. He's the original owner. Maybe we can get them both on the show.
That'd be good. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because it's amazing. In fact, if we can, I'll talk to Mark and see if or talk to Chris and I'll see if they would be willing to do a program specifically on educating about Grandview.
That'd be sweet.
So that anybody in the world can watch it and see what the benefits are.
Yeah, there's not enough people on it, and it's a very valuable resource. Everyone, if you have a computer, you should be signed up to the Grand Lodge, and like any important documents or anything, it's all on there. You can look up your Masonic history. It's great. It's all there. And
you can add your appended body history in there as well. You can add your extra achievements that aren't usually tracked by Grand Lodge. You can add that in there yourself so that you have that bio at a later date, and other people can see it as well if they can look you up.
Heck, Grandview is how I knew I was getting my golden trowel before I got my golden trowel, because it...
Don't tell people that stuff. There's other secrets about Grandview that you do not need to be telling people about.
Okay.
Well, there something just because I just opened it up myself. I seem to recall when Grandview first came out, and they had the virtual card and all of that. There was like a little disclaimer at the bottom that said not for official use or something along those lines. And I just opened it up, and I don't see that anymore.
Correct. So that is legal tender now. You can actually legal use now to where you can actually pull it up on your phone and they can scan it and know right away if you are or not. And also if you're so on your phone, it now states in good standing. It says on that. But if they don't believe you that you're logged into your Grandview, then they can scan it and do it and see on their own Grandview that you're in good standing.
Yeah,
it'll tell them the same thing. Yes.
Yeah, way to go, Grandview.
Yeah, tell me. That's awesome. That is awesome. And pretty soon, a lot of the Grandmasters in Mexico are looking into joining as well. In fact, they're looking at doing it as a confederation because there's so many small Grand Lodges in Mexico. If they do it as a confederation, they get a better rate on it because they're not as big as somebody like us. And so that way it'll be more affordable to them to be able to be a part of it. And so that we'll have access across the borders as well, which would be awesome.
That's huge.
Because right now it's almost all of the U.S. and starting to add other, territories. That's just freaking phenomenal.
It's almost 11. I'm going to turn to a pumpkin. So let's start doing our final thoughts. We could do this all night, and we've done
before the final thought, though, I will say, just so people understand the relevance of this, it'll be the first time many of these grand jurisdictions will ever have dues cards because they've never had dues cards. It's like England. You have to have walking papers to be able to go somewhere else because they don't have dues cards.
And how do they know if you're up to date?
It has to go through Grand Lodge. You have to go through your grand jurisdiction from your lodge, Lodge.
Because I think they're monthly over there too, aren't they? In a lot of those places. I'm just saying, how do they know if you're
I don't know.
If you don't have a dues card.
I don't know of any that are monthly. But you still have to go through the lodge, the Grand Lodge, the other Grand Lodge, and then to your lodge again to be able to visit one lodge to another.
How antiquated.
But that's how England is too. That's how a lot of the other territories are in the world. They just don't have the dues cards.
Gotcha.
And so this, for a lot of those areas, this is taking them not only, giving them a way to check, giving a way for us to check, but it's just propelling them into a whole nother source of identity. This will be their dues card.
So instead of taking baby steps like we have towards this, it's just a big leap for them.
Yeah, they're getting the benefits of all that we've gone through,
nice.
Which is awesome. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Well, those are some interesting final thoughts, Dennis. Thank you for sharing that.
And not even close, bud.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
Before we get into our final thoughts?
Does anyone have any final thoughts they'd like to share?
I would just like to reiterate again, thank you guys for always being a sounding board for advice. I mean, you've really helped my Masonic career improve.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've helped us improve also, Brad.
I really appreciate y'all.
And absolutely.
That's what we're all about. But it goes both ways. Iron sharpens iron, man. We've grown from working with you also.
For sure. I mean, you challenged us today with that freaking question right out of the box and made us have to think. We had to level up just to satisfy you.
But I was letting
I actually got corrected on that.
Let Dennis stick his
they're
foot
actually
in his mouth.
So the committee on work are not Grand Lodge officers; they are committee members.
Mhm.
So
But
there's
they
no
have to be
Grand Lodge,
available.
right?
Right. But they have to be available. They're extras.
Yeah.
When there's no Grand Lodge officers there, it goes to the committee on work. It doesn't just go to anybody out in the audience. That's for sure. And they're the bench warmers. That's what I'm going to start calling.
Wow.
Yeah, Cody is
they'll get you
part
real
of the.
popular.
I know.
I got another committee on work question. How many monitors have been in the Grand Lodge of Texas?
6.
How many? 6.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right.
I just guessed. I don't know.
Did you really?
I should have just kept my mouth shut, but like, man, he knows his stuff.
That's the
There's
Webb
like
Taylor.
Taylor and
Huh.
then Taylor Hamilton. Then
Yep.
there was some other one, and then there was the Jewel P. Lightfoot.
Joe P. Lightfoot, the Webb. I thought it started with the Webb monitor. Or maybe Taylor's was the first monitor. But it was based
Yeah.
off of Webb. Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was.
And there was
based off
one
of-
in 1985, the monitor of the lodge, and then this recent one in 2023.
It actually started with the web, and now it's all on the web. It's cyclical. Everything's cyclical. Woo woo. Okay. Sorry. See what happens when I start staying up
You
late, Dennis?
conspiracy guys out there, y'all have a ball with Justin.
I'm just enough of a conspiracy theorist. I can kind of give them breadcrumbs and just make them go in circles.
Right. You make us go in circles.
The best thing to ask a conspiracy theorist is, wait, you believe in the moon?
Nice.
All right. So let's do final thoughts. Brad, thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate
I
you.
appreciate that. Yes. I appreciate that.
Anyone
very
else have
much.
final thoughts? No? No? Going once?
I would say this is why we join, right? This is the value of the inner circle right here.
Mhm.
Is getting to come on these, hear this, not just listen on YouTube, but participate and be able to talk and get ideas, and to really see the breadth of conversation that we had tonight and enjoy that. So thank y'all for doing this. Thank y'all for continuing to do this, and encourage others to join the inner circle as well, right? So they can join these calls with us.
I appreciate the plug, and like I said, I mean, it's inner circle is nothing without you guys. I mean, none of this is nothing without you guys. So, and I mean it when I say I learn as much from y'all as you say you learn from us, and so definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much, Daniel. Anybody else?
I've only been a master mason for 3 weeks, so I'm still living under the fear of saying something unintentional being brought up on charges. So I just want to keep my mouth shut.
Man, if me and Dennis are still master masons, you're probably pretty safe.
Yeah. I can tell you that there's that envelope on the table there, and I just go.
You're good. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll jump into mine. Again, I'll just reiterate, like I appreciate all of you, and we do have silent inner circle members, and that's fine. I mean, however you get your value, if you just want to support us or if you want to come onto the show, like y'all, I appreciate all of y'all. Y'all, you really keep me motivated and inspired. We have these conversations. You help support the show. It's not cheap to run a podcast, despite what people think, especially if you want to keep trying to raise the bar on it. So definitely appreciate all that support. I was thinking about the comment Daniel.
It costs a lot to fly in our interviewees.
Yeah.
That's.
I mean, it's all on Zoom, but they're sitting right here. I mean, we fly them in.
Right.
But Daniel was talking about the Worship Master Program, and the thing I was thinking about is after he said that is like every lodge is so different. It's hard to I'm sure there's probably a way, but just to have like a one size fits all program, I don't know that would work. But I do.
No,
What?
I can put one together.
You put one together?
I'll do it for you.
I mean, I'd be up for the challenge. I just, as I was thinking about it, because every lodge is a different situation, and I don't know. I don't know. Like maybe it's one of those things we start putting it together. It's like, okay, this could work. But as I was thinking about it, like every lodge just has such a different situation. I don't know if there's a one size fits all approach. But I appreciate the confidence that you have. Yeah, there's. I don't want to. I want to be careful here, but I don't know enough about. There is a program right now that the Grand Lodge has. I don't know enough about it to say, but I was not overly excited by what I heard when I was hearing about it. But so yeah, I'm sure we can put something together that's good.
Well, that's not really just for. Oh, you're talking about the one-on-one stuff that you can
Yeah.
the mentorship program that you can uh, pay like a membership fee to get one-on-one coaching from past masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
I don't
Yeah.
know enough about it to really give a comment on it. I remember hearing like what they would do and everything.
I'd like to write something. That's so. That's my reply to it. It's great that they're striving for stuff, right?
Yeah, it's
I still think that I could write a pretty decent program.
yeah, yeah. So that's an interesting idea. I'd be open to something like that. I don't know what it would look like, but and yeah. So I'll just leave it at that. That's an interesting idea, and I appreciate the vote of confidence on that. But otherwise, like I said, really, really appreciate you guys, and I'm really looking forward to seeing y'all again in January. And to reiterate what I said, Brad, you're doing fantastic things for Roy City, and Dennis was right about his approach. I think mine had some merit, and but as usual, go to the middle ground, right? Take a little bit of what Dennis said, take a little bit of what I said, and that's probably the right way to do it. So just don't go all in with either one of us, and you'll be safe, I think. But but you're doing a great
That's
job.
his way of conceding gracefully. That's
Okay.
that's what that is. So yeah, you can go all in on mine and add a little bit of it.
So going back
Right.
to Kabbalah, you got the three pillars, and I'm the pillar of masculinity. Dennis is the pillar of femininity. You want to take the balanced pillar. You want to go take the best of both worlds. so, anyway, that's all I have
Feminine
to say.
feminine pillar is the pillar of reasoning. So
No, it's the pillar of strength.
and strength and reasoning, not wisdom.
Okay.
There seriously. That's where you find your reasoning.
Okay. Anyway,
I
go
didn't
ahead
write
with
it.
yours.
You just labeled it as that, so I'm just gonna take advantage because
Go
I know
for
it.
it. Go for it. I'll let you have it.
All right. So is it my turn? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
Conceding once again? I get it. Okay. So, but your reasoning is just to get me off the air.
I would never.
So, I am also grateful, and I'm really excited about this coming Grand Lodge. And as we've stated before at the dinner, in fact, I'm going to sign the contract either tomorrow or Tuesday. As we stated before, this is going to be a vouch for system. Our inner circle members are the people who not only subscribe, but they actually contribute to the program. And you don't, like Justin said, you don't have to contribute online like these brothers do with us week in and week out. But just supporting the program as a member of the Masonic Improvement Inner Circle. That's huge to us. So those members get first shot. They get a chair at the table. They have a chair at the table. All they have to do is buy their dinner, right? There is no vouching for it because we've already vouched for being on a program. Then what's going to happen is we are fixing to announce, once I get the contract signed and get the menu created, I'm going to send out a message to all of Texas Freemasons and all of our other different Facebook pages. And I'm going to tell everybody, okay, now it's time for you to contact us. We're going to give you the Masonic Improvement email address. And that's going to be the time that all the other people that are not Inner Circle will have an opportunity to email us. Now, for those who are not Inner Circle members, and even if you came to the dinner last year, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a seat to this year's dinner. Because if any of our Inner Circle does not think that you should be at that dinner, you won't be at the dinner. This is the tight group. We believe in a lot of the same things. We care about Freemasonry for all and not just ourselves. We're not a one world view kind of show. We believe in the democracy we have. We believe in the Grand West. And so if in an effort to keep continuity in our dinner and make it a class act event that everyone will be proud to attend, we're going to have a system where if it's almost like a blackball system, to where if we have rejections from our members, then you may not get a seat.
Can I just interject a little comment on that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason for this, and you may have touched on it, but the reason for this is because we want the people that attend this dinner to be able to have conversations about Freemasonry without fear of people talking about what you said outside that. We want to be able to have real and candid conversations in a safe place about our Freemasonry and share our experiences and our thoughts without fear of someone being in that room that's going to go and blab it somewhere.
Yeah, and that's another good point and that's the reason why we do that, is for that reason. And it's not just a personality thing as far as, somebody keeping you from being able to attend the dinner. It's more of, if somebody really just does not trust you to keep what's in the room, right? So we want a safe place to where everyone can discuss openly and freely about whatever they believe and not find retaliation. And so if you were at the dinner last year and somebody said, well, that guy, he was a loudmouth and talked about everything that everybody talked about, and, I'm not going to go if he shows up again, then that guy's not going to be able to come back. And that's how we know, is through the membership that attended last year. So it's that kind of a thing. It's not just as strictly personality. It really is a sounding board of who can best work and agree and be trusted to adult conversations. So with that being said, what's going to happen is we're going to send out this message to Facebook. Everyone will email us, and then when you are approved, the restaurant is going to send you a link to pay for your dinner. That's how you'll get entry. And they're going to give me a list of who paid for their dinner beforehand. And there will be a cutoff date for that because, obviously they've got to purchase their food, especially the tomahawk steaks. If you like those, that's what I always get. And it is one of the best in Texas. And they will only order for the event. So we have to know what everybody wants. But so that's how this will work. It's not going to be an Eventbrite type deal. It's nothing like that. This is completely an in-house operation because we've been successful patrons of theirs, for several years now, for many years, and we always bring a crowd. And whether it's been under the guise of Masonic Improvement or a get together of brothers that we just invite to dinner. We've had dinners in the past that everybody has enjoyed, and we've always been successful with that. And so they appreciate our continued business, and they're going to do this just for us. We're the first ones that they've done this. So they're going to send us as you send us an email, we'll send you the link for you to pay for your meal. And if you're paid up by a certain time, then you get a seat at the table. And then that way it'll all be accounted for. And that way it's easier on the wait staff, and all you'll pay for at the actual event is your drinks, because will have our own bar in our room, which is pretty cool. And they'll actually have scotch and all the favorites of most people. Unlike the bar I went to last night that did not have scotch, and I had to, they had Johnny Walker Black Label, and I guess I can go down that road every once in a while, but I really prefer not to. So our bar has all of this stuff. But anyways, so beyond that, this year is going to be another fantastic year for the Grand Lodge of Texas. We've got a lot of things happening. We've got a lot of resolutions for a reason. There's been a lot of events that have caused things to happen, both in a negative sense and a positive sense. And so there's a lot of feeling right now in Texas Freemasonry of where I wouldn't say our identity is, because we know who we are as Texans, but there's a culture shift. And it happened as soon as the Grand West decided that they were going to make the decisions for our Grand Lodge. And now the trustees are making decisions based off what the Grand West, and that's exciting. And we need to keep that going. And so we need everybody back at Grand Lodge to make sure that they realize that last year was not a one-off. And that's all I need to say about that. Mm-hmm. So I've beaten that dead horse. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about tonight. Man, I am honored to have you brothers on this show with me. I am. Man, I feel when you guys are gone for a while and then you come back, it's like a long lost brother, or like a life brother that you've been away from home and you just came back. It's always exciting to see. So happy to see Brad and Trenton earlier and Kadeem show up. I mean, that's awesome. I love you other guys too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't care about you. I truly do appreciate our inner circle, because our conversations, like Justin said, it challenges me to be better. If I don't have something worthwhile to give, it's going to force me to go look something up and try to be better. And that's what this show does for me. It continuously pushes me to be better at Freemasonry and really look at all of us as a whole, instead of having that narrow vision we sometimes get when we're, just sitting in our own lodge all the time. So it's another way of travel. It's time travel. Yes. Yes. I said it. Masonic improvement is time travel. So I appreciate all of you coming on day in and day out and contributing to this program. And I hope that we can continue to offer more value to you in the future. If there's anything that y'all need from me, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I'm always here, no matter what the question. I can find answers. If I don't know the answer, I know the people who do. That's for sure. So if you got a tough one, don't be afraid to call. I'm always here for you. And otherwise, we're going to have some great speakers coming up, and they're actually lined up already. And and then we're going to have a nice lineup show for Grand Lodge, which Grand Lodge registration is fixing to open. So be ready, because I've already got it on my calendar. It's coming. I've got mine for last year, so we're a little bit later, but it's coming. So be ready. Speaking of dues notices with Grandview and all that kind of good stuff, they're going out this month for this year. December's right around the corner. And so everybody be aware that that's coming. If you've got an endowed membership, then maybe participate in giving a little bit extra to the building fund or something just to help out. That's really all I got, brothers.
Okay.
Other than that, keep it between the points.
Later.
Skater.
Adds